Yeah.
Oh, where is he?
Aladdin is in the private chat. If you
Yeah,
want.
he's here.
Oh, he's here. Okay, let me bring him in.
I can share the screen if you want, brother.
Yeah, let Aladdin
Okay.
speak. I think he's here. So Aladdin, the mic is yours. What do you have to respond to whatever we've said so far?
Well, hello everybody. Good evening. I don't feel well, so I'm sorry.
Sorry about that.
It's almost 11:30 p.m. here. Actually, I didn't watch the entire presentation, just part of it. Everything in and out, in and out. Uh, what's his name? I'm sorry. What's the name of? Yeah, Ready to Reason. You brought up 2 points that I heard, and I would like to ask you a question about them, if it's okay, please. You said one of the most important verses. You said one of the most important verses is John 3:16. You quote John 3:16, which I memorize more than I memorize my own name. God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son. Now, you as a Christian, can you have salvation without your God killing innocent Jesus in barbaric way on the cross in the name of love? Or He has to kill innocent Jesus for your salvation? Can you have salvation without killing innocent Jesus? Or He should be killed in a barbaric way on the cross and cursed Him?
Yeah, there's no other way.
So I'm asking a question. Can you have salvation without killing innocent Jesus in a barbaric way on the cross? Or your God has to kill Him in a barbaric way on the cross in the name of love for your salvation?
Do you want me to answer? Yeah, okay. So basically, I don't think I can have salvation without Jesus dying on the cross on my stead. Yes, I don't think I can have salvation there. Is there anything?
So you are telling me that Jesus should be killed in a barbaric way in the name of love for your salvation. So you are telling me that your salvation is based on killing an innocent person in a barbaric, ugly way on the cross in the name of love. And without killing such innocent person in a barbaric way and cursed him, you have no salvation. So your salvation is based on a crime, killing an innocent person. That's what you are telling me.
I brought up the verse before, right? Should I bring that up again? In John 10, verse 17 to 18, it says, "The reason my Father loves me is that I lay down my life only to take it up again. No one takes it from me, but I lay it down of my own accord. I have authority to lay it down and authority to take it up again. This command I received from my Father." This is what Jesus says. He says that He is the one that lays down His life. He is the one that takes it up again. He does it out of His own accord. Nobody has pressured Him. Nobody has, how would say, nobody has, in a sense, manipulated Him into dying on the cross or forced Him against His will, but He did this out of His own will. So I don't, how you're framing it in the way you're wording it is that, oh, this innocent Jesus, He was just put on the cross without His consent, and He was forced to die for the sins of people. No, God doesn't have to do that. God doesn't have to die for our sins. Because we're not owed anything from Him. He could just wipe us out. Instead, He chooses to love us and come down and do that for us. It's not something we're owed, but it's something that God gives us.
Mr. Ready to Reason, I hope that we can speak 1 minute, 2 minutes. I mean, exchange the mic. I don't need to preach.
Yeah,
You don't need to.
sure.
I just asked you a simple question, and your
Yeah.
answer says that your salvation is based on killing an innocent person. Then after that, you said that Jesus laid down His life. But do you know what is the meaning of? Do you know? I will mention a Greek word. Do you know what is the meaning of this Greek word, which means didomi? Do you know what is didomi? It's a Greek word. Didomi is in
I'm
John 3. Okay, you don't know. Do you know?
no, I've not studied Greek, so no.
Okay. John 3:16, it says, God gave Jesus. Gave means Didomi. So
I
Jesus
think the word he's talking about means one's own, idios or
can
idiom.
I finish? Can I finish, please? Young Christian, if you don't mind.
Yeah,
So
sorry, I was just trying to give you the word, but go ahead.
read it to reason. So the verse says explicitly and clearly, Jesus gave, God so loved the world that he gave. So Jesus was giving by the Father. He did
Yeah.
not give himself. He was giving by that. The clear is very first is explicit. God so loved the world that he gave. So it's God who gave Jesus to his enemy to be killed. Now, he was killed against his will. That's another topic. I can show it out of the Bible later on. Now, you
Yeah,
said that
show us your John. Show John. Show us the proof. Wait, hold on. Show us the proof. Hold on. If you make a
why
claim,
hold on? You know, I'm talking, you
hold
interrupted
on.
me.
If you make a claim, you need to prove it.
Concentration now.
Wait, hold on. Ready to reason, just show your verse in John 10 that Jesus Christ gave himself out of his own accord. And you ignore that verse and stick to John 3:16 and say, oh, Jesus Christ, he died out of his own will. Well, you need to prove that.
I was coming to the verse that he quote, but you interrupt me. You see, I was coming to the verses that he quote, but unfortunately, you don't have enough patience. So you jumped over me and you interrupt me and you did not allow me to continue. If you have patience, you would have listened to me quoting the verses that he quotes. You see? So just be patient, please, and let me continue with him. Now, you said that Jesus laid down his life. So are you trying to tell me that when Jesus laid down his life, that Jesus committed suicide on the cross? He killed himself intentionally? That's a So you're telling me that Jesus committed suicide on the cross by laying down his self on the cross. So what do you think of that, Mr. Ready to Reason?
Firstly, I would like to answer that. Uh, firstly, that when you say that God gave Jesus, that does not exclude Jesus uh, giving himself up as well. And here's the thing, with regards to this, if you were to take the basic definition of, which is the act or an instance of ending one's own life voluntarily and intentionally, yes, you can take that to be. However, in a general context, what suicide is that you end your life out of desperation. What we see Jesus do is not that he ended his life because he was depressed or desperate, but that he gave himself up for us, which you can see like many people even have done that. In many, for example, someone in the army who's serving their country, if they die in war, they've given up their life as a sacrifice for their country. That doesn't mean they're committing suicide. They might as well definitely know that they might not make it out of the war, but they willingly lay down their life. Are you going to say, oh, so this person committed? Are you going to insult your own countrymen who died for your sake and say that they committed as well? Because that's how we can continue with that kind of logic and that kind of wording.
Mr. Ready to Reason, why have you done this to me? Why have you done this to me? Will you answer me? Mr. Reason, why have you done this to me? So when I ask you such a question, does that sound that I am happy with what you have done to me, or I am not happy with what you have done to me? Of course, I
What
will
have
ask.
I done to you?
No. I'm just giving you an example. If I say, why have you done this to me? So does it sound that I am happy, satisfied with what you have done with me, or I am unhappy? I'm complaining about it.
Yeah,
What does it sound like?
I-
It sounds.
it sounds
It
like,
sounds like yeah. Sounds like what?
yeah, I understand where you're going with this, but you know what? I will continue with your reasoning. It sounds like you're complaining. Yes.
Very good. So when I say, why have you done this to me? That's mean I'm not happy with what you have done to me. Now, you give a very good definition for suicide, but you contradicted yourself in your explanation. Now, why have you done this to me? I'm complaining. Exactly like what Jesus did when he was on the cross. He was complaining. So if Jesus went to the cross willingly, as you said, and he laid down his own life, he would never complain. Why is that? Because in Matthew chapter 27, verse 46, Jesus says and shout, Ili, Ili, lema shbachthani. That means, my God, why have you forsaken me? So he was calling his God and he was asking God, why have you left me? Why have you forsaken me? So does that sound like he really wanted to be forsaken, or he was complaining to God for forsaking him? Exactly what I said. Why have you done this to me? So Jesus was telling God, why have you done this to me, God? So he doesn't sound like a person who really wanted to be crucified. Even if you read in Matthew chapter 26, verse 39, Jesus said, shouting, let this cup pass from me.
So
Yet,
reading.
can I finish,
Yeah.
please? Yet not as I will, but as you will. So we have two different will here. The will of Jesus is to let this cup pass away from him. Your commentary said this cup means either crucifixion or death. So Jesus told God, let it go away from me. I don't want it. It's not my will. It is your will. So let your will be. So we have here two will. The will of Jesus that he doesn't want to be crucified, and the will of the Father who want him to be crucified. So Jesus said, let it be your will, even though it's against my own will. He even repeat this again in Matthew chapter 26, verse 42. Jesus said, oh my Father, if this cup may not pass away from me, except I drink it, they will be done. So he still doesn't want this cup. He doesn't want a crucifixion. But if you want to do it, I have no other choice. Let it be. He said it more clearly in Luke chapter 22, verse 42, saying, Father, if thou be willing, remove this cup from me. He doesn't want crucifixion. Nevertheless, not my will, but your will be done. So his will not to be killed, but it's the will of the Father. More clearer verse in John 8:40, Jesus didn't want to be killed. He told his enemy, why you have to kill me? Why you want to kill me? He said, but now you seek to kill me. John 8:40, Jesus telling his enemy, why you want to kill me? I don't want to be killed. Why? Because I am a man that have told you the truth, which I have heard of God. This did not Abraham. So he's telling them that I don't want to be killed. Why you have to kill me? See, so those are some verses prove to you that Jesus didn't go to the cross willingly. He didn't want to be killed. We have two different will, the will of the Father and the will of the Son. The will of the Father is to kill him. The will of the Son is not to be killed. And he was crying on the cross and telling the Father, why have you forsaken me? Why have you done this to me? So what can you say about this, please? Thank you very much for letting me speak for 3 minutes. I appreciate that.
No worries. Okay, so firstly, when Jesus says on the cross, my God, why have you forsaken me? Oh wait, is he not here? Should we wait for him to come back, or
Yeah.
I just want to say really quickly, he just machine gunned the machine gun strategy with like 4 verses, like the same strategy in Zechariah.
Yeah. You notice that he didn't really address John 10:17. He tried to get into the text. So he's trying to say that Jesus commits sin, and so he didn't even address the verse, but tries to ask it in a, you know, in a
I don't know
gaslight
if he come
way.
back.
So that's what really was frustrating me, and I had to respond and answer, because instead of him really, because if you go to Matthew 27 verse 45, John 8 verse 40, notice he even quote John chapter 8 verse 40 as his proof text that Jesus didn't want to be crucified.
yeah.
That's very laughable. Matthew 27 verse 45, as humanity, he was actually quoting Psalms 22 verse 1
Exactly.
as a proof text that the prophecy was fulfilling in Christ, so that the people who is hearing him can know that he is quoting Psalms 22 as a fulfillment. And Jesus is not saying that as a complaint that he is being forsaken, but as a proof that this verse was fulfilling. And if you go to the next verse, the Father answered his prayer to say that, yes, my son, it is time. You're not forsaken. And he responded to his prayers by, you see, the lightning and the judgment, all the things, and then the room turns darkened. So why would you go to this verse as a proof text where Jesus did not even complain that he didn't want to be crucified?
And also that just makes our case that Jesus is prophesied in the Old Testament. His death is being prophesied in the Old Testament, which the Quran denies. So I don't know.
Yep.
Well,
So
And John chapter 8, right? He went to John chapter 8:40, which is the verse where Jesus talks about Abraham didn't try to kill
him.
me like you're doing. That functions differently because that is a completely different context. There is the hour spoken about in John, and that hour is the crucifixion. So every time that they're trying to kill him, it's like, my hour is not yet come, so he escapes.
Yeah.
So it's not like, oh, Jesus is not going to die at all. It's just that he has an hour that is not yet to be fulfilled, so he's not going to die there. Right? He's not going to die in John 8 or John 10, any point where he's not ready to. That is later.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's
And Matthew 20,
appointed time of Father.
he also quoted Matthew 26, verse 39, to say, Father, if it's possible. Notice he is praying. He said, because in his humanity, in his human state, also being able to suffer, and will receive all the wrath upon himself, all the sin upon himself of humanity. If it's possible, let this cup pass away from me. But not as your will, not as my will, but as your will. How does that saying that Jesus didn't want to be crucified? I don't get it.
Exactly. And also, like, if you think about it, no Christian ever said that Jesus found any pleasure in going to the cross. Nobody said that. The whole point of the cross is that it's painful. Nobody finds pleasure in it. So yes, as a human being, Jesus did not find pleasure in the cross. He wanted to avoid it. But here's the thing. Jesus doing the will of the Father and doing his own will is not really a contradiction, because in John 4 verse 34 he says, my food, said Jesus, is to do the will of him who sent me and to finish his work. So the will of Jesus is to do the will of the Father. So when Jesus does the Father's will instead of his human will, that doesn't make him not willing to do what the Father sent him to do, because his will is to do the Father's will.
Yep.
Think.
No, go ahead. I'll just say, go ahead.
Oh yeah. And think of this analogy, right? Like a Christian person going through whether they're some sort of a leap in their faith, right? Whatever that may be, and they're thinking, God, I don't want to do this. I'm scared of it, but I'm going to do your will. That person isn't saying that in the heart of, oh, I'm not going to do this. It's fear about failure, but still yet trusting in God to go forth. That's not, oh, I don't want to do this. You're doing this against my own will. No, there's a certain fear that they may have, but they still go forth in trust because that's what they want to do, God's will. Same with Jesus. Like, it's not like he didn't want to do this at all and God was forcing him to, but there was a certain fear because he was truly man, so he experienced true human emotions. There was a certain fear with him of going to the cross because it's considered one of the most brutal ways to die, especially for back then. So of course there's going to be certain fear for Jesus. It's not like he's going skipping to the cross. All right, time to go die for the sins of my people. No, he's afraid to do it, but he does it anyway because that's like what Ready to Reason mentioned. That is his will, to do what the Father wills.
Yeah. And out of love as well. But the question is, for this guy, ALAA DEEN, I would want to know, would you find it moral good that the Jews and the Christians on their resurrection will take the punishment for the sins of the Muslims, even though we don't want to do it? Would you find it just? Notice this question that he's asking. If it's just for God to kill Jesus, an innocent man, for the sins of the whole world? So we're going to hold him by his own standard. If it's just for Allah to deliver every Muslim, a Jew and a Christian, and that is your rescue from hellfire, is it just? Which one is worse. Jesus Christ willingly to die for the sins of the whole world because he loved them, right? He loved them so much he chose to pay their debt. He said, the Son of Man, he gave himself as a ransom for many. Mark 10, verse 49. He said he gave himself as a ransom for many, right? And he says he laid down out of his own accord, submitting to the will of the Father, completing his mission in his works, or the Jews and the Christians who Allah was delivered for the sins of the Muslim, and tell the Christians and the Jews that is tell the Muslims that is their rescue from hellfire. Even though we don't want to be a ransom, which one would you find worse? But Muslims doesn't really have a problem with it. So
I mean, wait, where is ALAA DEEN? I really hope we could continue the discussion.
I don't
Probably
know where he went, dude.
yeah, and notice what he did, because he said, remember when he was talking, he said, the guy, well, do not do like one keep it 1 or 2 minutes, do not continue preaching. And he was speaking for like 3 minutes, and he had to think it. Thank you for giving me some time, 3 minutes. So it's okay for him to give you speech, but when you're giving him speech, he won't be okay with it. So,
Yeah.
well, that's fine. We'll show him grace. Yeah. I mean, like, it's also pretty late for him as well, so I guess he's probably gone to bed now.
yeah.
So,
Maybe his Wi-Fi went out or something.
Yeah.
I soon have to go as well. So 3 minutes.
I guess it is what it is.
Anything else you guys want to add?
Christian Apologetics, what do you have to say?
Yeah, I mean, probably I don't know. Probably it's his network, because last week when he joined the live stream also, he was complaining about network. But today I didn't think he complained about the network, because I think yes, he complained about him not playing too well. Probably he was just here to ask those two questions. Probably he was even in the backstage listening. Aladdin, if you can hear us, we would so much appreciate it. For you to come, when you come on live with us, try to at least spend some few times with us so that we can have a civil dialogue and discussion, not this kind of whereby you make a point, then you attack, then after 1 or 2 points, then you're off. We don't see you again. It's not making the dialogue kind of interesting. So we want your feedback, and hopefully by next week we can see we can do better. So,
Also, where's Bob? It's been a few weeks since we saw him, or since I saw him.
Uji, how is Bob?
I think he's doing good. It's been a while I haven't heard from Bob. Really, he used to send me a lot of Facebook, but he doesn't do it. So I hope that he's doing good.
Okay.
And he subscribed to our channel, so that's surprising he doesn't join our live stream.
Probably you can shout to him.
Yeah, he also goes to Speaker's Corner recently as well, every Sunday. So
okay.
Are we talking about Bob of Speaker's Corner?
No, not him.
Oh, Aladdin is here.
It's another Bob?
No.
Oh, he's back.
Oh,
he's back.
Okay, that's great. That's great. Good to have you back.
I'm sorry, reason I had some technical problems. All of a sudden, laptop shut down everything.
That explains.
I do apologize.
No worries.
And listen to you.
Oh yeah. So basically, the point that we brought up to your question was, one, Jesus on the cross, he wasn't complaining to God, because you can see that in the old, he is quoting the Old Testament right there. Psalm 22. I'm pretty sure I'm not the first Christian you brought this objection to, and people would have definitely told you that when Jesus says, my God, why have you forsaken me? It's quoting Psalm 22. Psalm 22 reads, if you read the whole Psalm 22, it talks about how this person is crying out to God and he is in the rush of death. His hands and feet are being pierced, his garments are being divided. We see all of this being fulfilled in the Gospels during Jesus' crucifixion. If you were to quote this passage, and if you take the whole Bible in context, you have to see that Jesus quoting this psalm. Again, it's a practice of rabbis to quote the first few lines of a passage to refer to that passage. And Jesus also was a rabbi, so he's quoting the first line of the psalm, and we see this whole psalm fulfilling in the crucifixion of Jesus. His garments were divided up among the guards. His hands and feet were pierced, and it talks about how the tongue is clinging to the jaw, which happens when your mouth is dry. And Jesus said he was thirsty, and he was given gall to drink. So this is actually a fulfillment of the prophecy of Jesus' crucifixion. If we were to state that, there's no other way we can truly interpret this. If you were to only take this out of context, you can say that Jesus complained.
So, can I speak now?
Yeah.
Okay. You see, you said I take things out of context at the end, right?
Yes.
You accused me.
At least out of context, in the sense that it's not taking into context the whole Bible.
Okay. Now, let me show you that you are the one who context out of context just to suit your needs. You quote Psalm 22, which I'm aware of very, very well. Even though you did not read it for me, I know what does it say. And I studied Psalm 22 from a Jewish perspective and a Christian perspective. Jewish context and Christian context. And the last video actually I uploaded in my channel just 2 days ago about Psalm 22. Now, you said that Psalm 22, what happened when Jesus shouted, it's a prophecy fulfillment. When you come to the Jewish and you read it in the Jewish perspective, that's what happened. Psalm 22 in the Jewish Bible has 32 verses. In a Christian Bible, it has 31 verses. Psalm 22:16 that you quote, they burst my heart and feet. Christian Bible is Psalms 22:17. In the Jewish Bible, Christians misrepresented and corrupted the verse. They changed like a lion, my hands and feet. They changed it to burst my hand and feet. So it sounds like it is prophecy and crucifixion about Jesus. If you read the verse in Hebrew, the verse it says in Hebrew, Kisavovuni kalvim hadas Miriam, ikuvomin kariye yudai riglai. That's the verse in Hebrew. I just read it for you from a Jewish perspective, a Jewish sources. Now, if you come to the Jewish Tanakh, Psalms 22:17, which is 16 for you, this is what you read in the Jewish sources. If you want me, I'll give it to you in a private chat. You can open it and you can read the Jewish link, which is jabat.org, the biggest Jewish link online that give complete interpretation for the Jewish Tanakh. And you read several interpretations, especially the interpretation of Rabbi Rashi. If you read in the Jewish Tanakh, Psalm 22:17, which is 16 for you, this is what you read in English. For dogs have surrounded me. A band of even dogs has encompassed me, like a lion in my hands and feet. If you come to the Christian Bible, they said they burst my hand and feet. What happened? The word like a lion is karyeh. The word in Hebrew burst is karu. So they sound the same and they are almost written in the same way. So you change the word karyeh to the word karu, or you translated the word karyeh to the meaning of the word karu to sound like it's a prophecy about Jesus. If you read actually in the same chapter, 22 verse 13, you read the same word, karyeh, and you translate it correctly like a lion. But in 22:16, you change it from Karye to Karu. And also you read in the Jewish Tanakh the same word as well. Where do you read? Let me quote you there. Yes, in Psalm chapter 28, 22, verse 8. It's also used the same thing, but was translated correct. Now, if you, Christian, believe that Psalm 22 is about Jesus, verse 8 prove that Jesus is not God. Because verse 8 said he trusted on the Lord. So he's not Lord. So Jesus is trusted on Lord according to you. So this is an evidence, if you will accept it, that Jesus is not Lord. So what you have done here, with all due respect to you, you've read the Jewish Tanakh in a Christian context. If you go to Rabbi Rashi commentary, he said, like a lion, my hands and feet, as though they are crushed in a lion's mouth. And so did Hezekiah. Then he refer you in his commentary to Isaiah 38:13, where it says, like a lion, so it would break my bones. So Jewish commentary is telling you this is about Hezekiah. And they refer you to Isaiah chapter 38:13, where Hezekiah said, it will break all my bones. You understand what I'm saying? So this is the Jewish interpretation. So what you have done, with all due respect to you, you corrupted the Jewish Tanakh. You read the Jewish Tanakh, Hebrew Tanakh, in a Christian context and perspective to suit your needs. But you can never read it in a Jewish context. I'll post you the Jewish link in a private chat. I hope that you can open it, if you don't mind, and share the screen. So me and you together will read what the Jewish says, what Rabbi Rashi said about this verse. It's in private chat. If you are interested, open it, put it on the screen, and I will show you where did Rabbi Rashi says all those things, and you will read it from a Jewish perspective, according to the Jew, not according to the Christian. I hope that this answers you. Thank you for not interrupting me. So what can you say about this?
Raise your reason, if you don't
I
mind,
mean,
can I address this?
Yeah, I mean, sure, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, the first thing I want to say is I don't think Ready to Reason mentioned Psalm 22 simply to say Jesus fulfills it. I think the point he was making is that that's what Jesus is alluding to when he says, my God, why have you forsaken me? So that's going to be point number one. But then you said that the Christians corrupted it when they said,
Excuse me, young Christian. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
okay,
See,
just a second.
you are not
about 5 minutes. Can I?
No, you are not listening to him, because all his answer was only Psalm 22, and he read the entire Psalm 22, and he concentrated on Psalm 22:16. He said, they burst my hand and feet, and this is a fulfillment of a prophecy of Jesus when he said, Ili, Ili, lima shbachni.
Yes.
That's what.
Okay. So
I was
whatever.
answering Psalm 22.
Okay. Can I speak? Because you had about 5 minutes to speak. I was sitting here patiently. I want to flesh out my point. So can you please let me speak?
I do apologize. I'm sorry.
Okay,
Please
thank you. So I'm reading from, this is the Dead Sea Scrolls English translation. This is Psalm 22:16 in the Dead Sea Scrolls. It says, "Her dogs are all around me. A gang of evildoers encircles me. They have pierced my hands and feet." This is the Dead Sea Scrolls. This is not in the Christian era. This is the Dead Sea Scrolls saying this before Christ ever came. And I can get you the Greek Septuagint as well if you give me 1 second. I gotta read it. Young Christian Apologetics. I was reading that from my bookshelf. I can look it up, but it'll take me some time. But I was reading that from my bookshelf.
Is it a bookshelf of Greek Septuagint of the Old Testament?
The Dead Sea Scrolls. I have a book.
Oh yeah,
I can get the Greek Septuagint right now online. That's
yeah, because the Greek Septuagint says that what we have, he's appealing to Rashi that comes like 2nd century, 3rd century after Jesus. So yeah,
all right. So we go down. All right, let me share my screen. I'm sorry. Give me a second. Oh, Christian Apologetics. Yeah, thank you. Okay. To dig. Okay, yeah, this is the word. and this is the word it used in the Greek Septuagint, which is around the same time as the Dead Sea Scrolls, and it uses the word to dig, which can also kind of mean to pierce. So it's not like a lion there, it's pierce or dig. You see it used also in the New Testament, like you dig into something, pressing into it. Now, as far as I'm aware, there are no manuscripts from before the 1st century AD where it reads like a lion. If you have some, you could provide them, and I'd be happy to look at them. But as far as I'm aware, all the manuscripts before the 1st century say pierce. But even if it wasn't pierced, the reading like a lion still goes with the messianic reading, because the lions are not giving kisses to his hands and feet. The metaphor is violence. They're very violent, scratching and clawing. So if they're like a lion at his hands and feet, is violence at the hands and feet, almost like they're piercing them. So you could even go with that and it still works. I think the last point you made, just double check. You were saying in verse 8, it says he trusted in the Lord, and you're saying that proves he isn't God. Am I correct?
Yeah, I don't want to interrupt you. Carry on. That's okay. Carry on.
Okay, yeah. Just want to clarify, so make sure I'm addressing you. So in this point, the Christian point of view would be that he's referring to the Father, and when you go to the New Testament, that's essentially what it would be. But even without that, these are the not Jesus speaking here. These are the words of the people ridiculing him. If you go back here to verse 7, all those who see me ridicule me. They shoot out the lip, shake the head, saying, he trusted in the Lord, let him rescue him. Let him deliver him, since he delights in him. And that's actually what they say in Matthew, if I can find it.
Matthew 27.
Word for word.
Matthew 27 verse start from verse 35 going down.
This is it, verse 43. He trusted in God, let him deliver him now, if he will have him. For he said, I am the Son of God. So here, the psalm is not presenting the psalmist saying this. This is the people ridiculing him. And this is what the people in the crowd ridiculing Jesus said. So even if we don't, even if we disregard Trinitarian theology and Jesus being distinct from the Father, this isn't even Jesus speaking. These are the mockers speaking. So those are all my points. You can go ahead and address them if you want. Ready to reason. I don't know if you wanted to continue. I just wanted to make this point.
Well, I mean that's what I wanted to say, but yeah, you covered all my points, brother. So that's great.
All right. ALAA DEEN, you can speak now.
You're on up. You can speak, ALAA DEEN.
Probably internet issues.
I'm sorry. I didn't know that I was in mute, because usually I mute myself when you speak. I do apologize. Young Christian, I was talking with Ready to Reason because he's the one who gave the presentation, and you jumped in to help him, and I have no problem with that. You brought up so many points. You spoke about the Dead Sea Scroll, spoke about the Septuagint, then you spoke about Psalms 22:8, which is 22:9 for the Jew. Now, what you have done exactly what Ready to Reason did. You've read the context, you read the text in a Christian context, not in a Jewish context. You read it in a Christian way to suit your needs as a Christian. Now, let me talk to you. I'll make it fast. You quote first the Septuagint. Am I correct? And I'm sorry, you spoke first about the Dead Sea Scrolls.
Yes, I started with that.
Okay. Actually, the Dead Sea Scrolls prove the corruption of the Bible, because the Dead Sea Scroll prove that there are so many differences between the Messianic Hebrew text and the text of the Septuagint. And this corruption, there are 1,200 years between Moses and the Dead Sea Scrolls. And this is a very long period, sufficient theoretically and practically to change the entire text. And between Isaiah and Dead Sea Scrolls, almost 600 years. So for someone to claim that Dead Sea Scrolls prove the authenticity of the Bible is kind of deceiving, because there is a huge gap between the original text and the Dead Sea Scrolls. From the book of Qumran Hamrits and their manuscript, Christian book that said these manuscripts did not solve any of the problems in the Bible, such as first, most of the books of the Bible are written by unknown authors and during to unknown dates, and the problem of texts that insult God and some sexual text. Did the Dead Sea Scrolls manuscripts solve any of those problems? It did not happen. Second things, the books of the Bible in the Dead Sea Scrolls different from the books of the current Bible. To clarify this, the number of the Dead Sea Scroll is 1,000 manuscripts, of which only 200 manuscripts only are considered sacred books, that today scholars call them biblical manuscripts. And the remaining 800 manuscripts, including interpretations such as the interpretation of the book of Habakkuk and Nahum, or books of special laws of Jews who lived there, such as book of community rule, and the rest are non-holy book today. They call it non-canonical books, such as the Apocrypha books. That church does not consider them sacred today, are not recognized today, such as the book of Jubilees. You want me to carry on? There is a lot of things that I can tell you about the Dead Sea Scroll, which prove that the Bible is corrupted actually. And I can give you a lot of sources from Christians themselves, show you the differences in between them and the Jewish Tanakh that we have with the Jew. That's the first thing you spoke about. You spoke about, after that, about Septuagint, and you quote me from the Septuagint. Mr. What's his name? I'm sorry. Mr. Young Christian, do you know how many versions of the Septuagint do you have? And what's the differences between them? Mr. Young Christian, can you answer me, please?
I think there's different Septuagint manuscripts. So what's your point?
So you agree. So you agree. Very good. So you agree. How many versions are there?
I don't know off the top of my head.
So with all due respect to you, so when you speak about some topic, you should have some knowledge about it, not just throw things, some little point that you know without studying the books itself. Now I will tell you, because when you speak to me with all due respect to you, I'm aware of the Dead Sea Scrolls, I'm aware of the Septuagint, and I'm aware of all those things. It's nothing new for me. As I told you in the past, I am 61 years old, and I've been studying for more than 40 years. I'm still studying. The versions of the Septuagint translations are Aquila's copy, which is the most important and famous copy. We have also Symmachus copy. We have also Theodosian's copy. And a copy then followed by the copy of Origen, who brought for us his famous, what you call it in English, hexagram. So if you bring those three versions or four versions together, you will find them different from one another. The Septuagint translation began in the 3rd century BC and spanned 4 centuries, ending in the early 2nd century AD, with the accession of the book of Proverbs, and spanning many centuries until it included the translation of the entire book. Differences in the text and differences in the number of books. The Septuagint, I can tell you, there are major differences between the Hebrew Tanakh and the Septuagint, such as difference in the text, differences in the number of the books. Septuagint includes 7 books in addition to the Hebrew Tanakh, and it's complemented by the book of Esther and the book of Daniel. What did the Jews say about the Septuagint? That's what they said. At the beginning of the 1st century AD, at the beginning of Christianity, the Jews were scared. The Jews was sacred books like the philosopher Philoni and the Jewish historian Josephus, who lived in the 1st century AD Christianity. But after that, the Jew accused the Christian of distorting the Jewish Tanakh to suit their needs. And the Jew and Christians began to say, our text and your text, our text is correct, your text is wrong. Jews said our text in the Tanakh, and Christians said our text in the Septuagint translation. There are so many other things that you find in the Talmud. The Jew accused the Christian actually in the Talmud. You find that the Jew accused Christian of distorting the Tanakh. And Rabbi Ishmael, who lived in the 2nd century AD, he said in Al-Mukhlita that the Tanakh translators distorted the Tanakh in the Septuagint. And there are many, many, many other things. Is this enough for you? Or you need me to say more, Mr. Young Christian? Now, my question is still valid for Mr. Ready to Reason. Will you please answer my question? Why did you change the word Ka'ariye to
this was all irrelevant to my point.
Yeah, that is. I don't know why you keep going to that.
I wasn't arguing for textual preservation of the Bible. I can grant you it's corrupted and it won't change my point. My point was earliest manuscripts of Psalm 22 read pierced. This is before Christianity ever came. This is in the...
Excuse me, I just posted you the Jewish link. It doesn't say pierced. Why don't you open it?
Chabad.org, it was not in the BC.
Dating.
It is there.
Aladdin. When was the Chabad.org written?
When you read, my point here is to read the commentary of Rabbi Rashi and other rabbis who are...
When Rashi.
No, hold on. Bro, Aladdin, stop going.
Why you are interrupting me again?
Because you're not answering my question.
Don't worry. I don't know, you tell me.
When did Rashi write his commentary?
I answered you. No, tell me.
When? I asked you when. When did he write his commentary? I'm
telling you. Did I answer? I told you I
don't.
You
did not. You said, you said, well, the Jewish had to tell us on the Chabad.org.
That's what. When? Young Christian, can you relax, please? I mean, why you're shouting? We are not fighting. If you shout...
Okay, I'm gonna cool down. But answer the question.
You have been talking to Ready to Reason. He was calm, Young Christian calm, but you always get high temper and start shouting.
Because all of us are not different. Because when people start lying, it gets me. I get pissed off. So
relax.
Everyone is different. Can you answer the question now?
I just answered you. I don't know. You tell me.
No. When was it written? Okay, let me.
I have it right here. Might have to double check this because this is AI overview, but just for the sake of time, we'll just go with this. Yeah. It says Rabbi Shlomo Yitzhaki, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing it, better known as Rashi, lived from 1040 to 1105 CE, which is basically AD, after Christ. So he's not living before Christ. He is doing this after, almost 1,000 years after. So I'm asking, going back to my point. Whoops, hold on, let me not mess this up. Oh yeah, there you go. Thank you, Christian Apologetics Network. So going back to my point, I wasn't arguing for the textual preservation of the Bible. I was arguing that the earliest manuscripts of Psalm 22:16 say pierced. Rashi comes almost 1,200 years after these manuscripts.
And that was my point. That was my point. He rather go to Rashi that comes few years after Muhammad, but he cannot go into the BC time, 1st, 2nd century Dead Sea Scrolls, or the Greek Septuagint to prove his case. He had to go to a Rashi that comes thousands and thousands years after even Jesus. And you see how dishonesty that is?
So I'm just going to ask the question simply. Do you have any early manuscripts before the time of Christ that say like a lion? That's all I'm asking.
It's my turn to speak. You
Yes,
see
go
what's happening here? It seems to be that they were not listening to me. You quote early manuscript, you quote me Septuagint, and you quote me Dead Sea Scrolls. And I quote you from the time that few time after Jesus, from the rabbi, and I mentioned you his name, when he said that they corrupted the Jewish Tanakh, they corrupted the Jewish text, and they don't interrupt me. Why you are laughing?
Yeah, dishonesty.
Sorry, let me mute. Sorry.
No, if you are here to laugh, thank you very much, Hans. I don't need to carry on. You just speak to yourself. Okay, I'll mute myself. After you finish, I'll speak again. When you finish laughing, I'll speak. Okay, just carry on laughing, please.
All right, can you continue speaking?
No. I want the person who was laughing. Actually, I don't know. I was talking to Reason who gave the presentation.
I was about to break down into tears, actually, but go ahead.
He was not even laughing. He was just breaking down in tears. Like, just continue speaking.
You know, it's so funny that 4 of you Christians.
You please just finish, bro. Please, no.
No. I lost my concentration. I forgot what I was. Excuse me, what's his name? Young Christian. Can you please repeat to me what I just about the Dead Scrolls C and
about the Dead Sea Scrolls that you said, which was all irrelevant to my point?
No. There was something relevant to your point. What did I say? Repeat, please.
You were saying things about, the Dead Sea Scrolls have differences. Oh, look, they have these books that aren't in the Protestant 66 book canon. And they said there's differences in the Septuagint manuscripts, all irrelevant to my point. My point is, I'm going to repeat it again. The Dead Sea Scrolls and the Greek Septuagint, all before these later manuscripts, read pierced. I'm asking you, can you provide early manuscript at any left? My question is not difficult. Can you provide early manuscript evidence for the reading like a lion? Rashi's not going to help your case. He comes 1,200 years later.
Exactly. And also, like, just to make it clear, that the Dead Sea Scrolls are not just copies of the Bible. You've got other writings in there as well. They're just collections of writings in which you find biblical manuscripts. So it wasn't meant to be only biblical books or scriptural books. It was meant to be copied down. Dead Sea Scrolls.
Yeah. Now we see the fruit of Islam. When they want to go to a place to support their case, they go to a little tradition. Rashi comes. Notice Rashi comes. I just know that because I thought he was like in the 2nd to 3rd century, but he comes late, even after Muhammad, writing a commentary. When it suits the case of the Muslims, they don't have any problem using it as their proof text to say, well, Rashi said this, Rashi said that. But instead of him going to an early manuscript, majority of the manuscripts that support his case, like the Dead Sea Scrolls, that was dated 200 BC, Greek New Testament that comes before Christ, he don't want to go there. Because now, when that manuscript refute his case, you know what he said? Well, the Jews in the 2nd century said the Christian corrupt the Bible and to sue their own. Like, well, what does that prove? What does that have to do with what we're talking about?
ALAA DEEN, are you ready to answer my question?
Excuse me, first of all, young Christian, I am very glad at the beginning that you admit and acknowledge that the Bible was not preserved and the text.
I did not say that. Please do not.
Oh, you did. No. You said that.
I said I can grant that for the sake of argument.
You did not say for the sake of argument.
Yes, he did.
Yes, he grant that, and
He did.
My point.
Just
get onto the question.
Why you asked me to speak? My God.
No, because you're going off tangent. Can you answer the question now?
No. Can I speak? I will not speak the way you want me to speak. If you want
No. If you want to bring an accusation, just speak.
First of all, what's that reason to? What's his name? Reason to? I can see your name. Yep. May I know why you went all of a sudden? Actually, you are the one who gave the presentation, and I was discussing with you, and totally ignored me. You went aside and you left them changing the topic, shifting the topic, going to the Septuagint.
You were the one who changed the topic, man.
Yeah. And you even did not answer my question in regard to your presentation. I was talking to you.
Allah Dean is the one who changed the topic. He said we changed the topic.
No. He was talking about.
No, that is not true. When
Can I?
Just a minute, Mr. Reason, would you like to carry on with me, or you want to step aside and I will continue with them?
Okay, so
I mean, do you give up,
to
Mr.
answer,
Do you give up?
to answer,
Do you give up? You want to step aside and they will continue with me, please, or you want to carry on with me?
I mean, I'm happy to carry on. It's just
No. Let the reason.
yeah.
Let the reason.
Let him finish,
Let
please.
Aladdin
Let
answer
him
young
speak.
Christian talk
My God,
question
why
first.
you are afraid to let him speak to me? I don't know why.
Okay,
Let
how
him
about this?
Aladdin,
carry on.
Aladdin, address
Excuse me.
young Christian talk
Excuse me.
question.
That's why I'm addressing it with him.
Hmm.
Will you please let
Okay.
him make his point? He's a Christian. He's the one who gave the presentation, not you. And I guarantee you, if I will tell you to repeat his presentation, I guarantee you that you didn't hear to anything that he said. I wrote notes. You didn't.
Okay, let's do this to make everyone happy.
No, can
Can I ask my
you please
question one
let
more
him,
time?
Mr. Reason? No. Can you please let
Hold on.
Mr. Reason
I'll
speak?
let
Please?
I'll let
If
Red
Mr.
go.
Reason will not speak,
I
I'll
will
step
let
up.
him
Okay.
continue.
Let him carry on, please. He want to
Yes.
say something. You interrupt me and you interrupt him as well. He
I'm
was
gonna
saying
let him
something, you
continue.
interrupt him.
Yeah.
Can you let him
Aladdin, you need
speak,
to calm
please?
down.
No, I'm very calm down. I'm quiet.
I'm gonna
So I'll keep
let him
quiet. Unless he will not speak, I will not speak. I'm quiet. I will mute myself. Go on.
Okay. I'm gonna let him continue. I just want to ask my question one more time. If you don't answer, then I'm just gonna take it as concession. So I'll just ask my question one more time. Do you have any manuscripts from before the 1st century AD that say for Psalm 22:16, like a lion? I'm muting myself. I'm done. If you don't answer the question, then I'm just gonna say that you conceded the point. Ready for reason, you can continue the discussion.
Okay. So firstly, I let other brothers also answer because I feel on certain points, for example, the manuscript tradition and all those things, a young Christian is much better at answering those kinds of questions. So I'm happy to answer. For example, with the question according to, I mean, what Aladdin presented, why did you Christians change the word from being pierced to being at a lion, like a lion? I'm not the best at answering with manuscript evidence like young Christian is. However, I could definitely give my best shot at it by saying, yeah, like if you take that reading like a lion, have you even seen a lion's mouth? Like young Christian, could you pull up an image of a lion with an open mouth? Look at those canines there. Like, what would happen if a lion were to bite into your hand? Yeah, it would be pierced. That doesn't change a thing about how we look at the crucifixion because it still shows that the hands and feet of the Messiah were damaged. Secondly, as young Christian stated, the earliest manuscripts say pierced. So what is the corruption there? If we take two readings, both of them show us the same picture. Uh, I really don't understand your objection there. Other than that, is there anything else you want me to respond to?
You see, what you have done, Reason, you just said, young Christian, young Christian, young Christian. I'll ask you the second question. Do you read Hebrew?
Nope.
No, but I'm gonna learn it eventually.
No, I'm asking reasons. All of you.
No.
Why'd
Okay.
you say my name?
Okay. Anyone
I mean,
among you?
I love to
anyone among you
learn.
read Hebrew? Anyone among you read Hebrew? Because I want him to read something.
Can you give your point and
Okay.
start off the question?
What I'm trying to tell you, the same word in Psalm 22:13 was used in Hebrew in Psalm 22:16. In Psalm 22:13, we translate it as like a lion, carrier. In Psalm 22:16, we translate it as pierced. So why the translation for you to the same word is different in the same chapter? verse 13 and verse 16. Anybody want to answer? It is the same word. 16 verse 13, it says, don't bring me Christian sources. You are going to the Christian sources. You see, that's what you are doing here.
I'm pulling up the verse.
No. You are quoting Christian sources
Okay,
to read it in
so
a Christian
that's
context.
what I've been asking you.
He's
for
quoting the
entire
Hebrew
time.
though.
Can you prove?
No. I just why you are not opening the link that I opened a while ago?
Okay,
I don't know.
I'll open the link, but do you want to open
Oh.
it? Sure.
Oh,
I mean,
he want to go. He
Reddit
want to go
chat?
to. He want to go to Habag.org again with Rashi. That's what you want.
Of course. No. I'm quoting
Oh, of course, of
Here.
course. Look, of
There you go.
course. He's
I
gonna go to
want you to
Habag.org.
read the Jewish Tanakh from a Jewish
Can
sources.
you quote the Dead Sea Scrolls?
Let's read
It
it
says
together. Let's read it together from the
Hold
Jewish.
on, hold on. Can you quote the Dead Sea Scroll that says what you said?
My God, can you please carry? Why are shouting again?
Can you
Okay.
quote the Dead Sea Scrolls that says
No,
what you said that agrees with you?
Now he want to change the topic again. I ask a
Oh,
Christian.
No, hold on. No.
Guys,
my goodness. I changed the topic.
if you don't mind, I
I
just want to.
I will mute myself again. Quote the link that you want and read what you want. When you finish, tell me to stay. Okay, I'll mute myself. Do whatever you want.
Okay, right here. ALAA DEEN, this is what I've been asking you the entire time. Can you prove? I'm trying to find the word. The reading where it says "like a lion." See if I can identify it. Maybe it's here. I'm not sure. This is what I've been asking you to prove. Can you prove that that is the original text from early manuscript evidence? I presented you my own. You have just one manuscript from before the 1st century AD that says "like a lion." You're assuming that Rashi has the correct text here. We don't believe in Rashi here. We don't. Maybe parts of this, what he says are true. I don't have a problem with that. But I don't take him as an infallible source.
You see, this is the problem here. You don't believe in a Jewish, the owner of the book, who has the Torah. The Tanakh is their book.
What?
So let me finish, please. Let me finish. Just relax. You see, Tanakh is the Jewish holy scripture. You as a Christian adopted the Tanakh, made it part of your book, changed the name from Tanakh to the Old Testament, adjusted the way you like to suit your needs by add, delete, and change according to the Jewish. So what I'm trying to do here, I'm trying to read Psalm 22 in a Jewish context, not in a Christian context. What you are doing, you are reading it in a Christian context. So therefore I said, go to the Jewish sources. So you can compare by yourself between the Jewish sources and the Christian sources that you have. Then you will realize that you change the Jewish sources to Christian to suit your needs. That's what I was trying to do here.
Okay, hold on. Okay, so since you want to go to Jewish context, well, Christianity did not start in BC; it started in AD, and the Dead Sea Scroll was dated in 200 BC. So again, young Christians still ask you the question: where does the Dead Sea Scroll say that like a lion that agrees with Rashi? Because the Dead Sea Scrolls, it have the manuscript of the Old Testament, and that agrees with the Jewish context. Prove your case.
With all due respect, I told you few years after that, and I quote you Rabbi Ishmael, and he quoted, and you can read this in the Talmud, which he came close to the time, and he said that Christian corrupted it in Septuagint, and they imposed it on Christian. Then I quote. That's why you were not listening to me.
Christian corrupted.
You were not listening. That's
notice what he's doing. He can't prove his case. He can't prove his. No.
You interrupt again. Don't tell me no. You asked me.
No. You said the Christian corrupted it.
My God, let me finish. Why you are high temper? I don't know why you always shout, jump over me, interrupt me. Can't you calm down?
Yeah, I know, but your gaslighting is not going to work. Your gaslighting is not going to work. So,
ALAA DEEN, with all due respect, I wouldn't be jumping at you if some of the things you didn't say were so deceptive.
No, I have no problem you jumping at me quietly. You're so calm, so cool. I am answering you. But him, he's angry, high temper. He shout, no. He interrupt you, stop. You see the difference between you and you. You're so cool. You're so calm. He's not. He sounds so nervous, so angry. Unlike you.
I'm nervous. Yeah, because you're nervous because you can't show your proof. That's why you keep getting mad.
No problem. I am nervous. Are you happy? I am very nervous. I am shaking. I'm afraid. Are you happy with that?
Yeah, I'm happy. Now we equal. Okay, go ahead.
Does that make you?
Yeah, go ahead.
You are. I'm sorry, but you are acting so childish, like always. You are acting. as
Yeah.
always.
So notice what he's doing. So as always, he's gonna come in and belittle people, which is not going to work now. If I insult his prophet, and then he's gonna be offended. So notice, I take notes what he's saying. Continue.
I did not insult you. When I say that you are acting childish, you were really acting childish. I don't mean to insult you, but if you will insult my prophet, I will not insult you back, because you really did insult your own Lord and killed him on the cross.
Okay.
So what you have done to him is good enough. You insulted him enough. I don't need to insult him for you,
Okay.
because you
No problem.
insulted. Actually, my question at the beginning was about salvation, and you ignored all that. The
Oh,
topic
we
is
ignored all
salvation.
that. No,
Yes.
we didn't.
And I asked you, can you have salvation without killing innocent Jesus in a barbaric way on the cross?
And I
in
said
the
yes.
Or you
Ready to reason already answered you.
So killing an innocent person is an act of God. It's a godly act or satanic act.
Ready to reason already answered you. So I don't know why you keep asking
Ask me the question: killing innocent person, is it a godly act or is it a satanic act?
Okay, hold on. Can you repeat what? Hold on.
The one who gave the presentation. Can you please answer the question? It was your presentation.
Can you repeat what Ready to Reason tell you, please? If you actually listen, what did Ready to Reason tell you?
Very good. He said that Jesus laid down his life, and he quoted the book of John. Then he quoted John 3:16. Jesus went to the cross willingly. Then I told him lay down. That's not mean he crossed the entire story. Then he jumped to Psalm 22. I told you I write notes, and you know that. And I always open the.
Why did he quote Psalm 22? Why did he quote Psalm 22?
To prove to you that was a prophecy about Jesus, or I said Eli Eli Mashbachtani. That's a fulfillment. Blah blah blah. So don't ask me to repeat. You know.
All right. So don't ask me if you know he answered you.
Can you let him answer? Now I can tell you the same thing, Mr. Reason. Can you please repeat what I said about the Septuagint, about the Dead Sea Scroll, and about Psalm 22? I showed you that I was listening. I want to make sure that he was listening.
Yeah, I mean, you told us that there are differences, and then you kept insisting that we are the ones who changed the words like a lion to pierced, which, I mean, if you look at the earliest manuscripts, you got pierced there. We've said that time and time again. I don't know what else you want from me. I've answered your question. Does Jesus have to die on the cross for me to be saved? Yes. Did Jesus lay down his own life? I gave you the verse,
No,
but you
I'm
did
sorry.
not tackle that verse. You did not
I didn't say die.
Come on, I'm talking right now.
No. You did not answer my question. I did not ask you Jesus has to die. I said Jesus should be killed by your God on the cross for your salvation. I didn't say die. He was killed, then he died. So my question was, can you have salvation without killing innocent Jesus? Or he has to be killed by your God for your salvation? You answered me, yes, he should be killed. So I ask you a question after that. Killing an innocent person like Jesus, is it a godly act or is it a satanic act? Killing an innocent person, is it godly or satanic?
Okay, so you want me to answer that question? Then could you also answer my question in Sahih Muslim 2767, where Muhammad says,
Right to reason. First answer his question, and then you could go to that aspect. So
yeah, I mean, like, I've already answered that question though. Jesus laid down his life on his own accord, whereas according in my question, there is no hint of the Christians and Jews laying their life for the Muslims. It's Allah who is just making them suffer through hell for the sins of Muslims. But you have no problem with that, do you?
Answer that question if you delve in.
Okay, now I will answer your question. You did not answer my question. I asked you a question. Killing Jesus, was it an act of Satan? Is it godly act or satanic act? You ignore that and you ignore that. You ask me a question. I will show you that I'm not like you.
Okay.
I will answer the question. Let me answer the question. I will answer this question straightforward. Okay? You quote the hadith, I think, that Allah will put the sin of Muslims on the day of judgment on the Jew and Christian. And you quote the number of the hadith. Am I correct?
Yes.
And the hadith, okay. That's why I'm trying to answer you. I'll show you that I will not avoid the question. I'll go straight to the point. Now, the hadith, I will read you the hadith even. Hadith number 27678. Abu Musa reported that Allah's messengers sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, when it will be the day of resurrection, Allah will deliver to every Muslim a Jew or a Christian and say that is your rescue from hellfire. The narrator of the hadith is Abu Musa al-Ash'ari. The hadith scholar who quote the hadith is Imam al-Albani. And he said that this hadith, the weak chain of the hadith is weak, according to Imam al-Albani. The summary of the hadith, scholars ruling, anonymous, and an acceptable and reliable denier hadith. They said it is rejected hadith. Majority of scholars said this hadith is weak because Allah is God of just and does not injustice to no one, as he said in the Holy Quran. And they quote Surah Al-Kahf, chapter 18, verse 49, where it says, وَلَا يَظْلِمُ رَبُّكَ أَحَدًا, which means chapter 18, verse 49, and your Lord does not injustice to no one. They quote also Surah Al-Zalzala, verse 7, chapter 99, verse 7, and verse 8, which says, فَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ خَيْرًا يَرَى وَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ شَرًّا يَرَى. So whoever does an atom's weight of goodwill, see it. And whoever does an atom's weight of evil will see it. They quote also from the Holy Quran, Surah Al-Muddathir, chapter 74, verse 38. Allah says, كُلُّ نَفْسٍ بِمَا كَسَبَتْ رَهِينَةٌ. Every soul for what it has earned will be retained. They quote also Surah Al-Tur, chapter 52, verse 21. كُلُّ امْرِئٍ بِمَا كَسَبَ رَهِينٌ, which means every person for what he earned is returned. And they quote from Surah Al-An'am, Surah Al-Isra, Surah Fatir, Surah Al-Zumar, which means chapter 17, chapter 6, chapter 35, chapter 39. They quote, وَلَا تَزِرُ وَزِرَةٌ وِزْرَ أُخْرَى, which means, and no bearer of burdens will bear the burden of another. Now, this is what those scholars who said that this hadith is weak, and they gave the reason why they call it as a weak hadith. Now, the question is, how can a hadith be weak when it is mentioned in our Sahih Muslim as an authentic hadith? Isn't Sahih, that's because of your lack of knowledge about Sahih Muslim. Isn't Sahih Muslim one of the most authentic books of Sunnah of the Prophet for us Muslims? Yes, it is. If the questioner who asked this had known Imam Muslim's method of writing Sahih Muslim, he would not have asked such question, because that will you ask me later on. Imam Muslim's bin al-Hajjaj, the author of Sahih Muslim, he wrote in his introduction, the introduction of Sahih Muslim, his method of classifying the book, Imam Muslim, that he would put the strongest authentic hadiths at the beginning of each chapter. Then the hadiths that were less authentic, then less and less and less authentic. Then he will put those hadiths that he thinks it's weak, the last. And so until he reached the hadith with the lowest degree at the end of the chapter. This weak hadith is narrated by Sahih Muslim in the book of repentance, chapter of accepting the repentance of the murderer. Even if he kills many people, Imam Muslim narrated 7 hadith in this chapter, where he included this hadith. He made this hadith the last hadith in the chapter. There are 7, this hadith was the last. So according to his method, he always posts the last hadith that he considered as weak, but he still put it in his book. Based on the above, I say Imam Muslim did not include this hadith at the beginning of the chapter due to the real weakness, very clear weakness in its chain of transmission. Now I will assume with you the authenticity of the hadith. That the hadith is sahih. It's not weak hadith. So I'm giving you an answer if it's weak and if it's not weak. God Almighty Allah bestowed blessing be upon the people of faith in the world and the hereafter. And the complete of that is their salvation, the topic of your stream, their salvation from hell and their entry into paradise. In this hadith, the Prophet, peace and blessing be upon him, mentions some situations in the hereafter, the day of judgment. Among them is that Allah Almighty will bring some Muslims who have sins like mountains, and Allah will forgive them out of His mercy and grace. His statement, and He will place them on the Jews and Christians, may mean that God will increase their punishment on the top of the punishment for what they were causing, spread mischief in the land and reform nothing. I will repeat this to you again. Allah said He placed them on the Jews and Christians. That means God will increase the punishment of the Jew and Christian on the top of the punishment for what they were causing, spread mischief in the land and reform nothing. And Allah will single them out for punishment for their bad deeds, not for the sin of another. Allah said, no soul shall bear the burden of another soul. But when Allah dropped the sins of the Muslims and left the sins of the disbelievers, they became in the sense of one who bore the sin of both groups because they bore the remaining sin, which is their sin. It's possible that what is matter and what is meant is sins that the disbelievers had caused for, such as they committed them. So they are dropped from the Muslims by the forgiveness and mercy of Allah, whether that was before entering the fire or after entering it, and who acts upon it. Perhaps the Jews and Christians were mentioned specifically. Why? In this hadith, because they are known for their hostility towards Muslims, like what you are doing. In addition, Jew and Christian will be in eternal hellfire, whether they bear the sin of some Muslims or not. He will put the sin on you or not, you will be eternity hellfire. The question for a Christian now, I will ask you the same question. Why did your God place the sin of all mankind in innocent Jesus and kill him on the cross? Is it fair and justice for your God to place the sin of all mankind in innocent person, Jesus Christ, to forgive your sin, and without killing him, which is satanic act? Killing an innocent person is a satanic act. It's not godly act. That's the question you refuse to answer. So killing innocent Jesus, this satanic act, is your guarantee of salvation. So without killing innocent Jesus, you have no salvation.
This guy giving a whole sermon right
The
now.
sin on you or not, I still have salvation.
Well,
Did I
brother, you just
answer your question?
you
I am
just
done.
you just admit that the Jews and the Christians, even though their sins is like heavy as mountain, that's Sahih Muslim 2767D, is like their sin, they're gonna go to hell anyway, because their judgment is gonna be worse for what they spread. So the Jews and the Christians are responsible for something. That is why their judgment is worse. So either way, you still go there. Second of all, I want you to give me any early Islamic scholars that say what you said, that this hadith is a chain of narration and it's a weak hadith. Early Islamic scholars. See how you cut me off? You can cut me off.
No, I'm not cutting off. No, I didn't say anything. I'm sorry. I didn't say anything.
All right,
Maybe that was me because I was typing. I'll mute. I'm sorry.
Usually, I mute myself. When you speak, I mute myself usually.
Yeah. Show me early Islamic scholars that agrees with what you said, that this hadith is a weak hadith. Third of all, he said that there is in the Quran that no sins of bearer will bear the sins of another. No one, notice it says no burden of bearer, and I agree with that. Now, if Christian, I think he said that the Quran wouldn't teach that because the Quran teach another thing. Go to Surah chapter 29, verse 12 to 13. Let's see if it agrees with what ALAA DEEN is saying. Surah chapter 29, verse 12 to 13. And notice his blasphemous statement is satanic. Okay, we don't have any problem with it. But when
You want me to put it on the screen?
we can't see the Quran screen. Surah
Yeah,
29.
I can put it on right now if you want.
I'm sorry. What did you say? Chapter what, please? I hope that you posted on the screen as well. You see,
Chapter
we posted.
29. Yes, you're going to put chapter 29, verse 12 to 13, and also chapter 16, verse 22 to 25. Chapter 29, verse 12 to 13. Yeah.
By the way, excuse me. I mean, you jump to the Quran later. We are not yet done with the Hadith. Why you jump to the after we finish the Hadith? You go to
Yeah, because your Quran is the most authoritative book, right? So
no. We are asked Quran and Sunnah.
I'm not done yet. Take note.
We are talking about I write notes. We are talking about the Hadith. So stick to the Hadith. Now
I did ask you the Quran. I did ask you to show me.
By the way, I'm sorry, who's speaking? The one who was discussing with me is ready to reason, and he asked me the question. I answered him. So he was supposed to answer me. I don't know why you jump.
Well, he already answered you on you.
No. He asked me about the Hadith. He asked me about the Hadith, and I answered him.
And you respond, and I can say,
Can I see his please? I want to know.
And I said, I want to address what you said. Yeah. Surah 29, verse 12 to 13 says, the disbelievers said to the believers, just follow our way, and we will bear the burden of your sins. But they will never want to bear any of the believers' sin. They simply lie. Yet they will certainly be made to carry their own burdens as well as other burdens along with their own burden. And they will surely be questioned on the judgment day about what they used to fabricate. Okay, if you go to chapter 16, verse 22 to 25. It says, your God is only one God. For those who do not believe in the hereafter, their hearts are in denial, and they are too proud. Without a doubt, Allah knows what they conceal and what they reveal. He certainly does not like those who are too proud. And when it is said to them, what has your Lord revealed? They say, ancient fables. Let them bear their burdens in full on the day of judgment as well. So they're bearing their burdens in full, as well as some of the burdens of those who they mislead without knowledge. Evil indeed is what they will bear. So does your Quran say that those who mislead other people, they will also bear their burden of sins as well? So someone in Islam can take the burden of another. So let's just go with the hadith. Sahih Muslim. If it said that every Muslim will be put unto the sins on the Jew and Christians, and they mislead them from the truth, quote unquote, Islam, so they also will pay the consequence of the sins of the Muslim. So you do pay the sins, you do bear the burdens of another sins, even in your Quran and the Hadith. All right. So I'll just leave it there. If ready to reason, if you want to add anything, then you could carry on.
Yep. Also, ALAA DEEN, I'm really sorry. I did not answer your question. I just realized it after you represented your question. If as to whether
ready to reason, with all due respect to you, you asked me a question about the Hadith and I answered you. So can you please, can you please just repeat what I just said in a brief? I want to make sure that you understood what I said. Can you repeat my answer in short, please?
Your answer is that on one hand, the Hadith might be weak, but even if the Hadith is strong, you're saying that that these people, they are already going to hell, so it is okay for God to place the sins on them. Is that right? Am I right?
That was 1% of what I said. Actually, I spoke for almost 7 minutes or 5 minutes, and you just answered in second.
I just want to answer.
I'll tell you something. And usually, that's my advice for you, which I advise the two moderator of this channel several times. Always, when you talk to somebody, bring a piece of paper and ball pen and write notes, like what I do. And I showed them many times the notes that I write. So you will answer me from the words that comes out of my mouth. So that's what you fail to do. I am sorry to say you are hearing me, but you are not listening to me because you are not sincerely interested to know the answer. If you are really sincerely interested to know the answer, you will write down notes and you will
Aladdin,
look.
Aladdin, Aladdin,
Now,
Uh,
Aladdin,
can I get on with him,
Aladdin,
please?
Can
Another
I?
person.
Aladdin, Aladdin, Aladdin. I think this is my first time of speaking. So when I speak, I think it is time up. We've been here for over 2 hours, 30 minutes. So you've made your point. Red Tourist have made his point. Young Christian Apologetics and Young Christian also, they've made their point.